made by conservative media, but to just lump them in with the claim of him being a registered Democrat. So in other words, they expand the claim to say it's not just claiming that he's a registered Democrat, but also claiming that this and this and this, adding a bunch of other things that conservatives weren't making a claim on. So that way, what Snopes can do is say, well, okay, it's true he was a registered Democrat, but it's not true about this and this and this, so therefore it's a mixture. So you can't really say that it's true, the claim that he's a registered Democrat, because it's really kind of a mixture. Do you see how dishonest that is, folks? But it's also very sneaky. So in this particular one, what are the additional claims that they introduced? That he was, quote, probably a Bernie Sanders supporter, that he hated Donald Trump, and that he's currently and actively a politically liberal person, okay? That he's active and currently politically active Democrat in the Democratic Party or Democratic Party policies and politics, all right? Well, here's the problem, folks. Conservatives, when they were sending out their tweets and whatever saying, hey, this guy's a registered Democrat, they weren't saying, hey, this guy's a Bernie supporter. Hey, this guy hates Donald Trump. Hey, this guy is currently politically active and a political activist with Democrats. Conservatives weren't making those kind of claims. They were merely saying he is a registered Democrat. Do with that information what you will. So that's how it becomes so dishonest, folks, because conservative media never tried to argue those extra claims. But Snopes could now call these claims false so that the whole thing gets some true, some false, in other words, a mixture. So now you might be wondering, well, then how does Snopes cover their tracks? How do they cover their rear end by bringing up these additional claims? Because if conservatives weren't out there tweeting, Bernie Sanders is this terrorist was a Bernie Sanders supporter, or he hated Trump, or he's currently active in liberal politics or whatever, where did they get that from? Well, here's what they did, okay? By finding some obscure, wacko website that nobody's ever heard of that happens to make those extra claims and then use that website as their example of typical conservative claims. So in this particular case, here's what Snopes did, because I had to dig into this. It's a lot of research. Hope you folks appreciate it. Here's what Snopes did. They go to this website. They find some website, and like I said, it's an obscure website. I've never even heard of this website before. It's a pro-evolution website that tries to blend Darwinian evolution with the developmental evolution and biological evolution of liberal and conservative political opinions. But the name of their website is, quote, Anonymous Conservative Understanding Political Thought Through Evolutionary Psychology. Now, folks, come on. You know this crazy, obscure website is not in any way reflective of conservative media in this country, right? You know this. Snopes knows this too. Folks, I got news for you. You can give me just about any crazy theory you want. Any crazy theory you want. And if I research online enough, I will be able to find some website that claims to be a liberal website, or claims to be a conservative website, or claims to be a Christian website, or atheist website, or anything, where there's some obscure guy working in his basement who makes wacky claims. Okay, you can find that anywhere on any issue and any topic. Well, that's what Snopes did. Snopes found some obscure pro-evolution website that tries to blend Darwinian evolution with the development of liberal and conservative political opinions through psychology. And on that website, you had the guy who runs the website who happened to post as one of his many comments, and I was reading some of their comments, they're pretty wacky, okay, about it. Most of it's all about evolution and psychological and biological evolution and everything else. But there was one area where he referenced Omar Mateen, and he said, yeah, this guy was probably a Bernie supporter who hated Trump. That's this guy's opinions on his own blog. But you know what that becomes to Snopes? That now becomes to Snopes the claim that conservatives are making about Omar Mateen. in general all across America, so that we can debunk that and refute that and say there's no evidence to support that, and so therefore the whole claim about Omar Mateen being a registered Democrat, well, that's just a whole mix of you can't say yes, you can't say no. Okay, you folks see what I'm talking about here right now. Let me read to you directly from Snopes. Claim: Orlando nightclub shooter Omar Mateen was a Democrat. Verdict: mixture. On June 12, 2016, security guard Omar Mateen killed a reported 49 people in a mass shooting at Orlando's Pulse nightclub before he himself was shot and killed. Among claims that spread in the immediate aftermath of the shooting event was a rumor that Mateen was a registered Democrat, with subsequent versions of that rumor surmising that Mateen was quote, probably a Bernie supporter and, quote, hated Donald Trump, end quote. So you see what Snopes did? They took the claim of him being a registered Democrat and they expanded that to include other claims as well that conservatives weren't out there making, so that they could get away with not just calling the statement true, that he's a registered Democrat. That's the kind of little dishonesty stuff that I'm talking about, folks. But I got other examples, and I'll give them to you next here on the Bob Duco Show.